let's do it. Let's record it right now. Hello and welcome back, LSAT Games. I explain them, you learn them. Pretty straightforward exchange here. We are going to look at the fourth game, the final game of the experimental game section from Prep Test 91. That is the first section on this test. Turned out to be experimental. It's a shame because if you've seen the other three games that I've done from this section, they're all super easy. Let's find out though, maybe this fourth game is particularly difficult. Questions 17 through 22, game 4, section 1, Prep Test 91. Here we go. The Odosky Advertising Agency has exactly 7 representatives. Okay, who are our representatives? F, G, L, no, not G. F, J, L, M, P, Q, and S. Its new campaign is presented to exactly one client by one or more of the representatives in accordance with the following conditions. Okay, so this strikes me as a classic in and out setup. You're either the presenter or you're not the presenter. At least one person must present, but then any up to presumably all 7 of them could be presenting. The other thing I notice is as I look at the clues, they're all conditional statements. They all begin with if, and again, that's pretty typical for in and out games. If F presents, so do M and P. Okay, so this is a splittable conditional clue, meaning if I know that F is presenting, for sure M is presenting, and really P has nothing to do with it. M and P on the consequent side of our conditional statement, on the resulting side of our conditional statement, means we can split those up. For sure M is there, and then of course also for sure P is there. So if F is in, each one of those are in, but it's going to be best to split that clue up. Contrapositives here would tell me if M is not in, then F is not in. Similarly, if P is not in, then F is not in. If J presents, then Q does not. So simple enough. And again, the contrapositive here, if Q does present, that must mean J does not. If Q does not present, then P does. So if Q does not present, P does. And if P does not, then that must mean Q does. Now, I've talked about this before for in and out games. The temptation here is to start to string together some of these conditional statements. If J is in, Q is out. If Q is out, P is in. And so the temptation is to set up a kind of deduction here when J is in, P is in. But that's not usually especially useful. Any scenario that asks us to put J in, we're automatically going to go through that process anyway. Because we have, 5 conditional statements, there are going to be something like I don't know, dozens, 25, 50 ways to combine these conditional statements. And so I don't want to look for these kind of domino train deductions. There is an important deduction that we do want to look for on an in and out game, but we'll get there in a second. Let's finish symbolizing our clues. If L presents, then either J, S, or both present. Okay, unlike this first clue, this one I cannot split up. If I see that L is on the inside, it could be that J is in. It could even be that both J and S are in, but it could just as easily be that just S is in. And so if the or is on this resulting side, I actually can't split up that conditional clue. So I'm going to have to leave this as it is. If L is in, then J or S are going to be in. And then the contrapositive there would be to say if both J and S are out, then in that case, for sure, we can say L is out. But unfortunately, we can't split that one up. If L and S present, okay, same thing. When the and is on the if side, what do we call that? The antecedent. That's what it's called. If the and is on the antecedent side or the if side, the beginning of your conditional statement, you cannot split that up. And so similarly here, we're going to represent this. If L and S are on the inside, that's the only time this clue gets activated, and we would know M is on the outside. Contrapositively, that's a word, right? If M is in, then either L or S, one of them at least, has to be out. The only thing we want to pay attention to deduction-wise are what we call placeholders. The way a placeholder works is it is a conditional statement that starts on one part of the diagram and ends on another. So for example, this first one tells us if J is in, Q is out. And then the contrapositive, if Q is in, J is out. The reason that's important is that means there's no way I can put both J and Q on the inside of my diagram. Again, when one of them's in, the other is out. And so that actually gives me a placeholder. For sure, I know one of Q or J is out. Now, it's important to recognize that's at least one of them. Could actually be both of them, but for sure one of them is going to be on the outside. Right away for an in and out game, that's making me think if I hit a maximum or minimum number question, I want to keep in mind one of those two has to be out. The placeholder always goes where the conditional statement ends. So for example, the PQ clue ends on the inside of the diagram. Q is out, P is in. If P is out, Q is in. For sure, that means there's no way you can put both P and Q out. So one of them has to go in. So we're going to have our placeholder there. And again, little plus sign just to remind me, could actually be both of them. Typically, though, I wouldn't recommend looking for any other deductions. At this point, let's just go ahead and jump into the questions. Anything we need to set up, we'll set up as we go. Number 17 is kind of a pick a clue style question. Which one of the following could be a complete and accurate list of the representatives who present? So we're just going to pick some of the clues and eliminate any answer choices that don't work with that particular clue. One thing we can say right away is if we're looking at who must present, our list has to have at least one of P or Q. And so A, for example, is already out. B is okay because it has Q. C is okay because it has P. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. You need this game in front of you, right? For very boring, possibly copyright adjacent reasons. I don't think I can display the game behind me. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm just trying to be on the safe side. If you need a look at this game, you should get the Triple Prep book from Amazon. You can find it linked in the description below. It has 3 prep tests, the most recently released LSAC prep tests, 90, 91, and 92. And if you're on Law Hub, of course, you can also find the test there. If you're not on any of those things and you're just watching this for fun, I love you. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I can't help you otherwise on this particular game, though. All right, so what other clues can we use? We know if F is in, both M and P are supposed to be in, so B is a problem. F is in, but not P. I don't see another problem there. What else do we know? If J is in, Q is supposed to be out. So E is a problem, for example. J is in, but Q is out. If Q is in, of course, J is out. Similarly, D looks okay there. On C, both J and Q are out, but again, we actually know that's okay. All right, interestingly, if L is in, remember at least one of J or S is also supposed to be in, but I can see that's not happening on C, and so number 17 must be D. 18 does give us a specific question that we can work out on our diagram. If L and Q both present, which one of the following could be true? Well, if L is in, we know for sure one of J or S is going to be in, though we don't know which one. Wait, yes we do. When Q is in, J is out, and so that must mean that S is the one that's in. And if L and S are both in, then M has to be out. If M is out, F is out. And I think the only element I don't know about right now is P. Of course, with F on the outside, P could be on the outside, but we can't go backwards on the arrow. P doesn't necessarily have to be outside. That's probably enough, right? Could be true. A, F presents. No, that's not true. B, J presents. No. C, M presents. No. We figured out all 3 of those are on the outside. Exactly 2 of the 7 representatives present. Nope, it was 3 of them. So number 18 is E. Next specific question, number 21. Let's go ahead and go to it. If exactly 2 of the representatives present, which one of the following representatives cannot be one of the 2 who present? So of course we're going to have 5 on the outside in this case. Right away I think, well, let's try to take advantage of the placeholder, right? We know at least one of P or Q has to be in. So let's actually set up 2 scenarios, one where it's P on the inside and one where it's Q on the inside. One thing I noticed right away, of course, is if it is the scenario where Q is on the inside, then J would have to be on the outside. But otherwise, like in the first scenario, I don't think that has to apply. I mean, I guess we could say one of Q or J is going to have to be on the outside, but we don't know which one in that first scenario. We can say that F has to be on the outside right now. If F were on the inside, it brings M and P with it, and that's not going to fit into just 2 spaces. So no matter what, F has to be on the outside. And I think we can say the same thing about L. If L is on the inside, it has to be joined by one of J or S. The problem, since we know about the PQ placeholder on the inside, is there's not enough room to make that happen with just 2 people. So I think for sure we can say L also has to be on the outside. But after that, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing who else would have to be either in or out. Let's go to the answer choices. Again, this was 21. Who cannot be one of the 2 who presents? Answer choice A, L cannot present. Easy enough. Number 22, also specific. So let's go ahead and take a look at 22. If F presents, which one of the following must be true? Well, F brings M, F brings P. If M is in one of, at least, L or S has to be out. Of course, we also know one of Q or J always has to be out. If M is in, do we know anything else? I don't think so. If P is in, this clue does not apply. It's tempting, but it does not apply. If L is in, something else happens, but we don't know that L has to be in. I think that's it. What must be true? A, at least 3 of the representatives present. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. There it is. 22 is A. Let's go to our general questions. We just have 2 left. Number 19, which one of the following representatives could be the only representative who presents? Interesting. So who could be someone who presents entirely by themselves? Well, I can see right away it can't possibly be F. When F presents, M and P always come along. For that matter, it can't be C. When L presents, somebody comes along, J or S, or possibly both. Who else could be someone who presents by themselves, though? When J is in, if I'm looking at 19B, we might just set this up. When J is in, we know Q is out. And when Q is out, P is in. Okay, so this was actually that domino train deduction we talked about avoiding earlier. And again, you can see we're just putting it right on the diagram. We can see does not work for J to be in by himself, herself, whatever. So we can cross off B. D, can Q be in all alone? Well, basically, it looks like we could try to modify this scenario on 21. Can we put everybody else out? P, M, who are we forgetting? That's 6 people. S. Right? We've got one of Q or J out, so that looks good. One of P or Q in, so that looks good. When J is in, that doesn't apply. When P is out, Q is in. That is working here. When J and S are both out, L is out. That's fine. That's working. M is not in, so this clue doesn't apply. And again, the FP-M clue doesn't apply here. Yeah. Looks like 19 is D. Q could definitely be by himself. Only one more question. General question, number 20. Which one of the following cannot be true? So I'm just going to look at my previous scenarios, basically. F and Q both present. No, that can be true. Cannot be true. If we put F in, M and P are also in. Q would be in. I think the temptation here is to think this isn't possible because of the QP clue, but that's actually not true. So no, I think that's possible. I don't see anything wrong with that scenario. J would be out there, and then you could put both L and S out there, and that would be fine. J presents, but P does not. Again, there you go. That's that domino train deduction. So this is the other reason why you don't want to worry too much about those deductions. If it's an important deduction, even if we miss it, it will come up as the game goes along. So you don't have to worry about missing it. All right, let's check the answers and see how we did. Number 17, D, E, D, B, A. Very nice. We got them all right. It's always nice to get them all right. Again, I don't know that there's much to say about this section. I wish it were real. Pretty easy section. We've got a lot of standard games here, some standard order games, standard in and out games. Good practice, I guess. You know, even though it's not real, if you were taking the real test, it wouldn't have counted. It's always nice to have some good practice there. But that's it. That's the experimental games section, section 1 from Prep Test 91. I am, of course, working through as many of these LSAT games as I can before LSAC introduces their new section that will obviate the logic games. In the meantime, though, we are still prepping through at least this fall. You're still going to have logic games on the test. If there's a game you would like to see, throw it in the comments below. I would be happy to take a look at it. And otherwise, I will see y'all next time.